Good afternoon, YouTube. It is the 14th of January, and I am actually out here in Smithfield right now. Not for a drone shoot, but I just dropped my son off at a Wawa, where he was picked up by one of his teammates from the rugby team to go back to school. See, he had some car trouble last night that is preventing him from driving back to school on his own, back to college. So, instead of me driving 3 hours up there, and back home another 3 hours, spending 6 hours on the road today. He was able to, secure a ride from one of his friends, which is great. So big savings on my part, both time, gas-wise, and such. Now it just becomes a matter of getting his vehicle serviced and And hey, Layla, good morning. Thank you very much. Dusty, thanks very much for joining as well. And yes, aloha, George, thanks for joining also from Hawaii. New Hawaiian, back to Hawaii. You've been there before. But yeah, I'm about to get back on the road, get back on the highway here in just a few moments, and yeah, head back home. So it's about a 40-minute drive from where I am right now in Smithfield, Virginia, back to Virginia Beach. But I am great, Layla. Just dropped my son off. He is on his way to college with one of his friends. She might be on the stream as well with us right now. But he won't say anything because, he just doesn't say things. He's driving with his friend. He had vehicle troubles actually last night, and go figure, right? The day before he goes back to college, car troubles. Yeah, he was on Rosemont Road. For those of you that know Virginia Beach, he was coming back home from working out at the gym, and he got a sensor warning saying that the vehicle was having some kind of transmission issue. When he pulled into the parking lot to get gas, or the gas station to get some gasoline, he filled up on gas and he could not shift from park to neutral. So he calls us up and he's like, I can't even get in neutral to push the vehicle off to the side. Layla, what are you saying? My son is going to graduate in May, going home soon again. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. The big fellow, right? That's awesome. Congratulations, that's great. What did he study? Yeah, my son is considering something in engineering/physics, I believe is what he said. And yeah, we'll see what he decides to study in college. But everything is to be determined, to say the least. But you know what I need to do though? I need to plug in the navigation into the truck so that I know how to get home from here, because I don't exactly know. I have an idea of how to get back onto the highway and how to get home from here, but it's just easier so that I don't have to think about, where to go. Mechanical engineering. I think you had told me that once before. I can't remember, but that's awesome. My bachelor's is mechanical engineering as well, so that's cool. Although I am not a mechanical engineer, so maybe he can be smarter than me and actually be an engineer and make more money, right? That's awesome. Congratulations. Engineering's tough, and I'll tell you what, the lessons learned from engineering, from being an engineer, in college that is, have served me very well. It served me very well from the problem-solving aspect of things. I mean, effectively speaking, because I've got a good background in engineering, in the solving of problems side of things, it's given me the confidence and the ability and the smarts, through trial and error, of course, as well, to solve anything, to be able to do and fix anything. In fact, speaking of fixing the problem last night, I mean, that's a sensor issue, but because he couldn't even shift the vehicle from park to neutral, or start the vehicle, I went over to the gas station where he was at, which was cool because it was only a mile and a half away from the house. So it could have been worse.
Obey traffic laws, be alert, and use voice commands while driving.
I was able to go over there and I say, all right, what you need to do, I believe, is simply disconnect the battery to reset the vehicle computer. And so I said, all right. And luckily, my wife bought him a car toolkit, so he had the tools in his vehicle, so he could undo the nuts on the battery and disconnect the battery, reconnect the battery, which reset the computer. And he was able to turn it on, and he actually drove it home just fine. So, Mimi Bear, thank you for joining. I'll apologize to all of you now as well, and you could let each other know that I am driving, and so it will be unsafe for me to actively participate in the chat. But I just wanted to chat with you guys a little bit and just talk a little bit, talk while I drive home. And I am live streaming via Prism Live right now, so that if I see a place that looks like, hey, that would be actually pretty cool to fly my drone at, I could share that flight with you. So basically capture a target of opportunity, if you will, for you while I drive home. So at a light, lucky you have to take the entire whole wheel off my car to get the battery to the battery. Oh, no kidding. Wheel off my car to get to the battery. What do you drive, George? You got a Tesla? All right, yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, but they had called, my wife had called the dealership to find out if they were open today, so that we could drop the vehicle off for service. And as weird as it sounds, I mean, my wife was actually looking at buying my son a new vehicle because of this one sensor issue. And my but I think the decision, I don't know what the plan is. I believe that they made a decision to just go ahead and have this current Jeeps. I mean, it's a 2021 Jeep Wrangler, you know. I think it's just a sensor issue. Once that's changed out, it's good to go. And it's not like something got knocked loose or anything like that. I don't know. You know, sensors go bad. These new fandangled, technologically advanced vehicles, you know. Not that I know anything much about cars, but if there's a computer on it, if there's some type of computer, you turn the computer off and on again, that should reset things so that it can get to operational again, be operational once again. But Mimi Bear, thank you very much for joining and hanging out with me this afternoon. Yep, according to Prism Live, there is one person hanging out with me at this time, which I greatly appreciate. Even if they were 0, I know that many of my subscribers are, for example, in the Philippines right now, so it's 4 a.m. there. And everybody usually catches up on my live streams, especially this late in the afternoon, than normal. So, all right, hey Dusty, how you doing? Newer than my Nissan. Laugh out loud. Yeah, no kidding, right? Newer than this truck here. Granted, this truck. Let's see. When did I get this? I bought this vehicle February of 2019. That's a funny story if you haven't heard that one yet. It's a 2018 Ford F-150 Raptor with the Roush Racing package, and it just happened to be sitting in the dealership when I saw it, you know. But gotta go get some sleep. Jason, take care always. Layla, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you hanging out and participating a little bit and watching. Catch it again later on if you like. You know, I'm just chatting away. But good night, sleep very well, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. It's 11 p.m. time here. Oh, so what is that, 11 p.m.? So you are only 7 hours ahead of me? It's 8 hours ahead of me? Where are you then? You're not in the Philippines then, are you, Layla? That means you might be in like Hong Kong? Are you in Hong Kong? Or Macau? Because I have a lot of subscribers there as well. Both in Hong Kong and in Macau. Oh, you're in Saudi. 7-8 hours. Okay. Oh, I did not know that you were in the Middle East. For some reason, maybe the last time I saw you, you were actually visiting. I don't remember. Are you going to do the backpack video on live or make a video? You know what, Dusty? You're talking about the backpack video for the DJI Aveda. You know what? I could do that live for sure. And so I want to make a video for it, so it's a standalone. But I will do that live if you're talking about the backpack for the. Someone just they've got these great. Check these out. Let's see. Directly in front of me right now are these off-road ATV vehicles, and they look pretty cool. It's too hard to see. I don't want to get too close to it, but let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Nope, I can't. But yeah, directly in front of me is a thing. It's a pretty cool goal. I was in the Philippines when you saw me live often. Oh, did you just move to Saudi Arabia, Layla? I know you're about to go to sleep. But we'll catch up another time later on. The next time you go live, yeah? If not now. But thank you for joining. I know you want to go to sleep now. So good night, Layla. Thank you again. I know life has been crazy lately. Dusty, life has been crazy for me lately, and I've not done a video in a really long time. The last one was during the Army Navy game. I posted the video of the Go Navy sign that was painted on top of the Beach Ford building, which is where I bought this truck. I'm working here. Okay, yeah. No, that's awesome. How long is your contract job out there for in Saudi? But yeah, the last time I did a, regular video, drone video, was December 7th, the day of the Army Navy game. And so, yeah, I've just been busy. I've been able to fly my drone at least. In fact, I flew it at work a few days ago. So, I was on vacation last time you saw me. Okay. Right on. So you actually live in Saudi now. Alright, that's cool. That's good. I've been here for 15 years of my life, on and off. Oh, wow. It must be difficult to live there, yeah? No? Yeah, I have only been to, in that part of the world, Afghanistan, a couple years ago. And I believe you're a doctor, a medical worker out there. So, well, thank you for doing what you do out there. You know, but in the beginning, okay, right on. Yeah, so yeah, I have been busy. I've only been able to fly my drone twice this year so far. Once in the backyard, just for the sake of putting the goggles on and flying around outside. So, but now it's better. Yeah, no kidding, right? Let's see, 15 years ago, so yeah, just after 9/11. So it must have been pretty crazy out there when you first moved there. So, David, good afternoon. Thank you for joining as well. Yeah, just a Sunday drive stream today. I just dropped my son off so that he could hitch a ride with one of his teammates from the rugby team to go drive back to college. So I am on my way home, and I figured I'd take advantage of my 40-minute drive home to say hello to all of you. And at a minimum, I'm using Prism Live right now, so if I do come across something cool to video, I'll go ahead and stop the truck, turn the drone on, and get airborne for a little bit. But yeah, Dusty's asking about a video that I said I was going to do on the backpack that I use for the Aveda. I believe that's what you're talking about, right, Dusty? I actually bought another backpack, which is a lot bigger than the one I use for the Aveda, for just to see how it feels, and it's okay. I'm not that, I mean, it's a good backpack, but for what I am using it for, it's too big for my purposes. Now, if you wanted to haul a lot of gear, for sure, the new backpack that I got is pretty good. Take care as well, Layla. Thank you again for joining. So, okay, yep. So the Aveda backpack. So it's the it's the Low Pro. I forgot what model, but yeah, I'll definitely do a video on that one specifically. I know it's on my list of things to do, bro. And the funny thing is, you know what's been taking up a lot of my time most recently? I picked up a new hobby, and I started playing Fortnite with my brother and my son, and my brother's children, his son and daughter. They all play Fortnite also, and they're like, "You got to try this game out." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll play some Fortnite with you guys." And so the first time I played, it was pretty cool because my brother walked me through how to play the game. And so because he was walking me through it, I learned a lot faster. And of course, you know, at least for me, because I'm not into playing video games, or I wasn't into playing video games, because he walked me through how to play, what to do, where to go, you know, the mechanics, the strategy, at least his strategy, the strategies of the one YouTube live streamer that plays video games. What's his name? Toby Wan Shinobi, I think his name is. Watching, you know, he watches all those videos also to get better, and that's how we learn how to do things, right? We watch YouTube videos on how to do things. YouTube education. But as a team, right? It made it a lot of fun. And sure, my son tried to get me into playing, what the heck is that name of that game? Overstream, or I think it starts with an O. Overwatch? Does that sound like a video game? That's a first-person shooter? I think he tried to get me into that a couple years ago, but for some reason, all the flashing lights, it wasn't sitting well with me at the time. And this was maybe 4 years ago, or even longer. I couldn't get into it. But playing Fortnite with these guys, it was a lot of fun. You know, I think we like took third or fourth place my first game. And after that very first game, I thought to myself, you know what? How do people live stream their video games? And because I've got one of those NVIDIA video cards or GPUs in my computer, and I use my son built my computer for me specifically for video editing. But he made it pretty powerful. He built me a pretty damn good computer. In fact, you could look at the specs for my computer on my website, which is www.jasonlavarius.com. If you click on video editing, you can see, hey, Cool Cat, good afternoon, brother, how are you? You can see the specs for my computer that my son built for me 2 years ago, 2022, 2 years ago in the fall. And yeah, I'm talking a little bit about Fortnite right now. I'm about to start talking a little bit about Fortnite, Cool Cat, because yeah, in the short amount of time that I've been playing this game, oh man, I gotta get over. I got people blocking me out. One moment. One more lane. All right, cool. So, all right, yeah. So Fortnite. Yeah, I got into playing Fortnite with my brother, my son, his kid, my brother's kids, and I'm really enjoying it, you know? I mean, so much so, after I played that first game, I live streamed, as you know, Cool Cat, because you were there, for 4 hours. And we probably played how many games in that 4-hour period, you know? I mean, clearly we go to the very end, and we all got killed off every once in a while pretty quickly. But it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. That's why I watch you talk about random things that are educational. And thanks, Dusty, I appreciate it. You know, and that's a funny thing also with as far as my channel goes, because I've considered doing some other things and talking about some other things at the same time, because I mean, in this tiny little bird brain of mine, there is a lot of information, a lot of things that I'm able to recall very quickly, spot on, you know, because that's how funny people are. They could recall things and just blurt it out, right? But I'm not that funny of a dude. You know, I really have to think about what I want to talk about. But it's one of those things where, for one, the more you attempt to recall things, just like we do anything, you know, the more we play a video game, the more we fly our drone, the better we get at it, because it's all about repetition. We don't actually master things until we do it, have 10,000 hours in the task, you know? So, Andrew, good afternoon as well. Thanks for hanging out I'm waiting for the knots. Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, here's the thing. If you can't tie knots, tie lots. Get it? And I'm trying to, you know, figure out a way to tie in my drone flying channel with all the other stuff that I do at the same time as well. Because, for one, before I do something, before I buy something, I have a tendency to really research into it. Now, I didn't research playing Fortnite because I did have a tutor right then and there who was literally behind me because I had my computer set up here and my brother set up another computer basically, 90 degrees from me, so in my office at home. And so just recently learned how to tie a noose. No kidding, Dusty. I hope you never have to use it. A noose is actually a really good tool, and it's funny I call a knot a tool because obviously you take a rope, right? A line, cord, and you tie it into something for whatever you need to do, and it's now a tool for whatever you need to utilize it for. Andrew, yes, I will tell Maggie you said hello. She is not in the back seat with me. She is at home with my wife, and so she's in the process of taking down decorations. But yeah, if you can't tie knots, tie lots. And there is a way of how I teach tying knots that I believe is very effective. And if you can only tie one knot, I would submit that you learn how to tie the bowline. B-O-W-L-I-N-E, the bowline. Oh, that's a casino over there. Wait, what is that building? I forgot that they built a casino there once. Maybe a year and a half ago, and I think they're actually drowning. They're not making very good money for a casino, right? But let's see. Tied it around the tree to the dog rope. Yeah, right? And you know what? The funny thing about the noose is I believe what I had read was that the more wraps that you put around the cord, right? Maybe I had heard it. I don't know how true it is, because practical use wise, what is a noose used for? Stringing people up, right? Yeah, sure, I'm a cowboy, right? But I've never strung anybody up with a noose, that is, by the neck. But I think the guys were saying when we first learned how to tie the noose, or someone was talking about the noose maybe, that the more wraps you put around the cord, the more force is created, which could break the neck, compared to if there's less wraps, it only strangles a person. So I don't know how true that is. But I do know that, of course, knot tying is one of those skills that not many people have. Not many people know how to tie, all the knots, and what knots do you need? How many knots do you need to know and memorize? I would submit that there are 6 knots that one should learn how to tie. And they are, number 1 is the bowline. Well, I guess number 1 you could call the shoelace knot, right? That's the first knot everybody learns how to tie, which is effectively an overhand loop and your bow tie knot, which is effectively the your shoelace knot. So it's 2 knots in one, right? But your overhand, which is basically just right over left, and then progressing from there is the square knot, was right over left, left over right. And the purpose of the square knot is to join 2 lines of similar diameter together, basically the same rope, or at least 2 lines of similar diameter. If you were to tie 2 lines together that one was thicker and one was thinner, I would recommend that one uses what's called the sheet bend. The sheet bend. And so that is a good knot for tying 2 lines, 2 cords, 2 ropes together that are of dissimilar diameter. The next knot that I would submit to another knot of the 6 is the bowline, so that's 3. The bowline knot, and then another one is called the clove hitch. Sorry. Okay, so real quick, the bowline. Going back to that, the purpose of the bowline is to put a loop at the end of a line. Let's see, I talked about the clove hitch, which was number 4, right? The clove hitch knot is used to tie and basically connect your cord, your line, your rope to, apologies, focusing on the road a little bit here, to a spar, a pole, a post, a tree. And then another good knot to know is, let's see here, the figure 8, which is dual fold, because if you could tie a figure 8, you could then also learn how to tie a figure 8 on a bight, which creates a loop at the end of a line. And you can also use it to tie a directional figure 8 in the middle of a line. And I say directional because depending on how you finish it, I'm in the tunnel now, so if I lose signal, it'll come back as soon as I get out. So hang out. But a figure 8 in the middle of a line is directional depending on how you finish it, because when you finish it, it'll be pointing in one way or another. And that was an important thing to know, because the direction is based on where that knot is. If it's pointing in one way, then you want, and you're to connect a carabiner to that loop, that should be pulled in this direction for, in this direction versus the other direction, for the sake of it not getting untied and maintaining its strength. That was extremely important to know when we were doing helicopter rope suspension training. So you've seen people rappelling out of helicopters before, like in the military, and doing the fast roping out of helicopters, or spy rigging. SPY is an acronym for Special Purpose Insertion Extraction Rigging. SPY, S-P-I-E, SPY. That's that's basically a big rope with a bunch of like D links on it that you would connect that you connect to using a carabiner, and you've got a harness also on that's specific for the spy rigging. And it's special purpose insertion extraction rope lined method to get on and off a target or your drop zone or your LZ quickly. And basically you fly out and it's like a dude's dangling from the end of a line. Let's see, so figure 8. And then, let's see here. Where was I? Okay. Taut line hitch. Taut line hitch is actually another good one because it's used to tie an adjustable but locking knot at the end of a line. Very good for tightening up your tent guy lines when you set up a tent, or when you pitch a tent that requires guy lines to keep it tight, or tensioning a tarp. You can loosen it when you need to loosen it up, and you can tighten it down, make the line tight. So taut line hitch. Another knot to know is 2 half hitches, which is effectively a clove hitch on itself. It's very similar in usage as the taut line hitch, and it's tied the same way and such. And then let's see, did I say 6 already? A knot that I did not learn as a youth, but that I learned recently when I started learning how to do tree climbing and climbing tree worker work, is the butterfly knot, which is used to tie a loop in the middle of a line. You can actually tie it at the end of a line as well, but this butterfly knot is extremely strong as well, and you can load that knot in various directions. Versus a figure 8, you should only load it in one direction. Because when you tie knots, recognize that even though you've got a line that's, for example, 100 pounds of tensile strength or 1,000 pounds of tensile strength, right? Recognize that is a static load that has been, that its tensile strength is at. So does that mean it parts at 1,000 pounds, for example? It depends on the line, the manufacturer, etc., etc. But tying a figure 8 at the end of a line decreases the strength of that knot, decreases the strength of the line at the knot by X%. And there is a chart that exists someplace that someone's done all the testing for. And so I think that the Bolin, is it the Bolin? I think it was 75% reduction in strength, or 25% reduction in strength of the Bolin figure 8 on a bight is 75 or 25. It's one of the two, etc., etc. So trucker's hitch. Okay, yeah. Let's see here. I used to tie up my boat with a round turn and 2 half hitches. I'm visualizing what a round turn is on a line with the 2 half hitches. And the trucker's hitch will come back. So 2 topics here. So what you're talking about, it sounds like, so whenever you tie a half hitch, right, the 2 half hitches, that's effectively, use it as like a safety knot. So you could, when you go to the rock gym and you have to tie in, we do the figure 8 follow through, which looks like a figure 8 on a bite. But you do the figure 8 follow through followed by 2 half hitches on the end, which is effectively a round turn, but when you tuck it, now becomes a hitch. The trucker's hitch is great for tightening, to really tension things down on, wow, a lot of fast moving traffic today. We're gonna move on over into the DriveStream lane. The DriveStream lane. Get into this slowing, because I usually only drive about 55 miles per hour because it's better on gas. And I'm not in a rush to get anywhere. I'm going the speed limit. So, yeah, knots. You know what? There's an art to knot tying, if you will. I mean, decorative knots, but there's knots that are very specific, tools, And so it's funny, when I first started teaching my son how to tie knots, he came to me, one day. He's like, he was small before we even joined the Cub Scouts, but he's like, "Hey, Dad, check it out." He had a ball of 550 cord. It was all knotted up. It was tangled. He goes, "Look what I made." I'm like, "Oh, what you got there?" He's like, "I tied a knot, just like you do." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You can't tie knots, tie lots, right?" And I said, "Well, let me show you how to tie a square knot. It's very easy to do, and this is how you do it: right over left, left over right. So you've got 2 ends, right hand, left hand, and you right over left, left over right, and it ties a square knot." And showed him, and it's like, "Look, you see, kind of like a chain that links." He said, "All right, cool." And he ran away and he tied it a couple times, and he came back to me and said, "Hey, Dad, look, I did it." Oh, "Hey, Dad, look, I did it." I used to do a lot of sailing in my teens. Yes, and as a result of that, you probably know how to tie a lot more knots than I do, cool cat. Sailors could tie some knots, that's for sure, right? In fact, you don't call rope lines, right? You call them sheets, right? That's how sailors do. And so he comes back to me. He's able to tie the square knot, and I was like, "All right, cool. I'm going to teach you another one that's very easy to tie, and it's kind of fun to do." He's like, "All right, Dad. All right, Dad." And so I taught him how to tie the bowline. And there's a little thing that you say, a rhyme, or it's not even a rhyme, it's just a story. So you basically create an overhand loop, and you take the running end of the knot, of the line, and which has now become the rabbit. The rabbit comes out of the hole, runs around the tree, and back in the hole, right? And so I asked him, "So, what does the rabbit do?" He comes out of the hole, runs out of the tree, and comes back in the hole, right? Cool. Now the key to tying this knot also is how you position the hole. Because if you make the hole so that it is, let's see here, if you hold it in your left hand, you take it the middle, and then you flip it over. So that, effectively speaking, the tree goes under basically that's like an overhand loop, right? If you flip it over, you create an overhand loop with the line, that creates the hole. If you do an underhand loop and reverse it, right, the other way, you won't be able to lock off the trail of the bunny rabbit. So, yeah, bunny rabbit comes out of the hole, rabbit comes out of the hole, runs around the tree and back in the hole, and that's the bowline. And the purpose of the bowline is to tie a loop at the end of a line, and it's a very secure knot. It can slip if it's loaded enough, if it's jostled enough. So in tree climbing, what we'll do also is do what's called the Yosemite finish, which basically creates another loop around it. You can go that one up on how to do the Yosemite finish. And there's a couple, I think there's like over 100 ways to tie up, or 100 bowlins. Because you've got the bowlin, you got bowlin on the bite, you got double bowlin, you got French bowlin, you got Spanish bowlin, all these different bowlins that exist out there. You know, and so what do you need to do all these other bowlins for? Well, if you need 2 loops at the end of a line, which is effectively double bowlin, I think, or French bowlin, right? So effectively, you've done is you've created leg loops for your at the end of your line. So point is, yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk a little bit about that and do some videos on, you know, the outdoor skills that I have to share with you, my YouTube subscribers and followers and viewers, because again, the method of how I teach it, I think, is very effective. Because for one, I taught my son how to tie the bowline, right? And once he ran away with his line, and he said, "Hey, Dad, look, I can tie bowline now." Rabbit comes out of the tree, comes out of the hole, runs out of the tree, and back in the hole again. That's how he used to sound when he was growing up. Now he sounds like this, Dad. And then he'll say to me, "Dad, I don't talk like that, Dad." Every time I put the camera, why are you filming? Why are you filming, Dad? But let's see, one sec, Dusty. My teen years spent working with my stepdad building pools in Central Texas. All I learned was how to run a shovel, which is a skill as well, isn't it? You know, I mean, and there's all kinds of different shovels that exist out there as well, between your hand trowel, you know, to the spade shovel, to your normal digging shovel. You know, I mean, I got this really cool shovel that's got a giant scoop on it that I use for yard debris. That's made of metal, right? But yeah, I mean, and who knew that there were all these different names for pickaxes even as well, right? And so, like, do you know what a Pulaski tool is? It's probably one of my favorite trailblazing tools that exist. Which, Pulaski tool. It's got an axe, it's got like a hoe on one end, and then a, not quite pickaxe, but apologies once again. Traffic has got me going here. But yeah, point is, I got a lot of things that I want to share with you guys, because I believe that I am an effective teacher, instructor, and such. But, you know, many people, I could say the same exact thing, or I could say something, but you won't get it. But if you hear the same exact thing from somebody else that you, as a viewer, you know, resonate with, you might find that you learned, or able to learn that skill, that, you know, that piece of knowledge better, because you relate to that person better. You know, like I've heard some people on YouTube that, you know, I can't even stand to look at sometimes, you know. I'm trying to get the information, but I'm like, next. Just because for whatever reason they don't fit with my personal core values of whatever, you know. There's some things like that I can learn from some people, like in college, you know. I had 2 different professors, because my one professor failed me on in a class, so I had to repeat that class in college. It was, what was it? Material science. Yeah, I got an F, and I believe that had I had a different teacher, I would have done much better. I would have at least passed the class. But he failed me. This old dude. He was so old. He pulled his pants up to his nipples. This old short dude, you know, and he was a dick. And I say that because I do not like him at all, and he didn't like me. It was pretty clear whenever I went for extra instruction in the afternoons. He shamed me. In fact, I went with one of my friends, and one night I was like, watch. So I asked him, hey, how do you do the moment of inertia was the problem. And so he showed me how to do the moment of inertia really fast and not, very good in teaching wise. And so, I looked at my friend Danielle and I was like, see? And she said, Professor, I won't say his name. I mean, he's long and dead now but whatever. But she asked us, hey, can you do that one more time? I missed a step. And he goes, oh yeah, 1 second here. Let's just start from the very beginning and start with the very basics of a circle and a square, and then how you take the moment of inertia going from there. And I'm going, he hates me. Maybe he's racist. Who knows? This old dude. He spoke with a very European, like Eastern Bloc accent. I don't know if, people of of my type wronged him at some way in the past. But yeah, he would embarrass me and shame me in class. Maybe it was because I fell asleep one too many times in his class, and that's why he hated me. Because he was boring, and I was a boxer, so I failed his class, but I took it again. Took that same class again with, at the time, it was Lieutenant Quietek, who happened to get married to the assistant boxing coach at the time, one of the assistant boxing coaches. But I was able to learn much better from her. I got an A in that class. Maybe I got a B. Point is, I passed the class the second time around. Oh, it's because you're just learning it for the second time. Hey, you know what? I had a teacher that I could actually explain, and that she probably taught the same exact thing he did, but because she was younger, also, she was a lieutenant at the time, so they're probably at least in the civil engineering corps would say that she was probably like 30 years old, and I was a young midshipman, but I resonated better with her and was able to absorb the information better and pass the class. I think I got an A. Maybe it was a B. But again, point is, if you can relate to somebody better, you're gonna get that knowledge better. That's the point, and that's why I do this stuff, because they, who knows? Maybe I can the stuff that I know and that I can teach, that I'm good at teaching and talking about. I'm able to make a positive impact on someone's life because they got the knowledge from me. So that's kind of why I do that, But there you go, falling asleep while someone's class will do it. Yeah, right? But he hated me, and yeah, my fault, sure. Bottom line is, I became a mechanical engineer. So I showed you, Professor so-and-so. Right? That's funny. Good teachers at school are pure gold. They can make or break someone's inspiration for something they grow to enjoy. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And with anything, be it scouts. I mean, I was a scoutmaster for my son's troop once, for a short period of time, which I hope that I had a positive impact on their lives and their growth and development. I mean, I know one thing that the parents did not like about me as a scoutmaster was that I maintained the standard. Sounds funny, right? Well, because, scouts would come to me for a signature, but they didn't really know how to tie the knot, for example. And I would ask them, it wasn't me, I'm not going to sign you off because you don't know how to do the knot. Do you think you earned my signature? Do you think that you know enough about how to tie that knot, or how, or whatever that subject and topic is? Do you think you've earned the signature? And the scout would tell me, no, I haven't. All right, when you're ready, let me know. So it wasn't just a, no, you didn't earn it. It was a, hey, they've got to understand why they did not earn the signature for the sign-off. But the parents didn't like it. They expected me to just sign them off, which was ridiculous. And you know what? You're raising really good kids there, folks. I won't teach you how to parent, but I expect the standard to be met, and that's all. Not asking for more, not asking them to tie the knot with their eyes closed, which is actually how I tie the knot with your eyes closed, holding your breath. I'll spin him in circles. He could tie a knot upside down with his eyes closed, holding his breath around the dining room table, which is what I eventually got him to do. So yeah, didn't really see anything exciting to stop and fly the drone at. But I am home now. I'm gonna go ahead and pull into the driveway, and I think, Dusty, if you want, I could probably get back online later on again to teach or talk a little bit about that backpack that I used for the Aveda. So why don't I do that? Give me about maybe an hour or so from now to do that, and I'll get back online and do that for you, bro. So check this out. You'll love this guy. All right, man. Thank you very much for sharing that. For sure. MP Longa Mixed TV, thanks for joining as well. Late enough for me to do that video outside for you, Dusty. But all right, folks, we'll talk to you later on. Thanks for hanging out and joining me this afternoon. We'll talk again soon. If not today, then tomorrow. All right, bye, guys. Ending live broadcast.